Hey guys, it's TJ back again with another ranking video, and I decided to list my the studio discography, all one of the most influential goth rock, post-punk, alternative rock. They pretty much done a lot over the years. The Cure. The Cure, uh they formed in the late 70s. They're still going on as far as I know. They released an album just last year actually. They haven't missed too badly, honestly. A lot of the albums I'm going to be talking about at least have like one good song that I come back to, even like in the latter part of the list. So there's not really too much to hate, but of course they still have missteps in their career, and I'm going to be talking about them, uh, and why they're missteps to me. Yeah, I'd say let's just go on. All right, so at number 15, we have 513 Dream. I believe that's how you pronounce it. So I think these bottom three could easily like be interchangeable for me. Hold on. And it really this first one is where this is where it's gonna be for now anyway. Uh 513 Dream is probably wouldn't be everyone's least favorite Cure album. But to me, it's kinda boring. Once the first song, Underneath the Stars, is fine. Even if I don't come back to that really often, it's that's just about it. Like that song is pretty decent. But the rest of the album, I cannot think of a single song off the top of my head other than Underneath the Stars. Yeah, that's like I can't think of another song. But the rest of the album is pretty boring in comparison. But yeah, yeah, there's not much to say about this album. There really isn't. I would say more about it, but there's not really anything else to say. Let's move on. Coming up next, we got their 1997 album, Mood Swings, Wild Mood Swings, actually. Yeah, this is probably the one everyone's gonna say is their least favorite, among like another one coming up next. I like it slightly more than 513 Dream. I think the song Bear is actually a really good song. I haven't heard that in a while, and coming back to it like before listening, like making this video, it is pretty darn catchy. Like it's actually a pretty good song. Uh, I think the 13th is a pretty silly song. Like it's completely different from a lot of the other stuff they've done. It's not really like gothic. But again, it's kind of silly. The problem with this album is that I think they were trying to do something new, but they couldn't get with the times. Like a lot of the songs on this album were like almost had a baggy influence. If you guys know what that genre is, and it's kind of, this album is the album name really makes sense. Like Wild Mood Swings. Like the album really doesn't know what it wants to be. On one hand, it's like an alternative track. On the other hand, it's like gothic, and on the other hand, they you got like these weird acoustic moments, like the 13th, like I was talking about. I like the 13th. I think they've had more moments on the album, but they never really stuck with me. And yeah, this album is very weird to say the least. It's not like even if it's something I come back to more than anything on 514th Dream, I still will admit that it is not a great album. It is a mess. It's just the Cure wanting to get with modern times, and they're kind of struggling at it. So yeah, that's why it's where it is. Self Tidal from 2004, just called The Cure. If you asked me this, like, what's your least favorite Cure album? Like, maybe like a little bit before I did this ranking at first, this album would have been way, way, way down. I thought this album was too long for its own good. I thought a lot of the songs did not stick with me. And the last song, "The Promise" at 10 minutes, that still doesn't stick with me to this day. I think out of the few epics they have done, that is my least favorite, and I never come back to it. It's boring. In my opinion, still stands with that, but I think the songs "The End of the World" and "Us or Them" are pretty darn good songs that, for me, brings back that gothic rock sound they were doing beforehand. I but even then, I still think this album is too long and too boring for its own good. I think you could have shaved a big portion of this to be like 45 minutes, maybe reworked The Promise a little better, and you wouldn't have lost too much. Because this album, in comparison to the album they made before this, which I will get into in a little bit, uh really doesn't do a whole lot. And again, they could have easily have done better. Let's move on. Coming up next is their first real misstep, in my opinion, The Top from 1984. This one has one of the, it's not a big hit, but The Caterpillar. The Caterpillar is a really good song. Shake Dog Shake is a good song. In my personal opinion, the self-titled title track is a pretty good song too. And those songs are, while those are really good, not a big fan of the rest of the album. In my personal opinion, I think they were trying to once again do something new, because this album isn't that gothic. It's a bit silly, and actually, and I don't mind silly Cure because they have a lot of good silly songs. Like what I said before, the Shake Dog Shake is a pretty silly song. Uh, in terms of sound, I don't know about subject matter, but like also the 13th is pretty silly, and I remember liking that from Wild Mood Swings. So I don't have any problem with the sillier like side of the Cure, but the issue I have with this album, nothing much else to say. This is smushed between two really decent albums, especially the one beforehand. There was a cat outside. Sorry, I just got distracted. Um, and they, I this is another one of those albums like Wild Mood Swings where I don't think they knew what they wanted to do. It's like they kind of just wrote some stuff and put out an album, and for the sake of putting out an album, and that's it. It's like they just, it's like, it was, I wouldn't say quick cash grab, but they kind of wanted to just put out an album for fans. And I know a lot of people don't like this album, myself included, being this low on this list. But it's like those, like the few songs I talked about, I really don't remember a lot of the other songs on this album. Like, The Caterpillar was a single. I don't know if it did that well. It did well enough for it to have its own Wikipedia article. I know that's kind of funny thing to compare to. But yeah, that I really have nothing else to say about this. And that's really sad, because I think this had some stuff going for it if they put more time into it, you know? So yeah, that's all I have to say about The Top. Let's move on. An album I'm putting on this list that a lot of people wouldn't put on their list is Japanese Whispers. This is more of a compilation album. It's only 28 minutes, but I think there's songs on this album that are notable enough that this album should be on this list. And The length alone is probably what puts this down, because again, it's only 28 minutes. Is a pretty darn short album. But there is a lot of good songs on here. Like, my favorite song on here is "The Walk." Then there's "Let's Go to Bed," "One Last Kiss," and "Lament." All of those songs are really darn good. And there is a few other nuggets on here that I really like. My two nitpicks is: one, the album is very short. Two, never liked the song "The Love Cats." The Love Cats is kind of annoying. I don't really like that song, and I know a lot of people probably do, but that is like one of my least favorite songs by the band. And I know it was a decent hit, but even when in that like argument with the hits, that I like a good amount of their hits. I don't like the Love Cats. Maybe it has to do with it being slightly annoying, or maybe like I don't know. It might have to do with the annoying factor in it, because there's a lot of other hits that by them that I can at least slightly tolerate in terms of that. So yeah, uh, this that's all I have to say, and that usually has to do with it. That's because the album is that short. So once again, we'll move on to our next album. A Head on the Door, just barely making it to my top 10. Yeah, and I know this is a controversial take, because this is like a really well loved album. I mean, not probably not like a favorite, like a big favorite, but like this is like the one of the first albums that really put them on the map, because In Between Days was a pretty huge hit, and so was Close to Me, kind of. I actually don't know which one was the bigger hit. Probably In Between Days. But yeah, I was never. I don't hate In Between Days, but when it comes to their hits, I come back to a few other songs more. Like I come back to Close to Me more. I like Close to Me, and there's a lot of also a lot of the other songs like Push. Push is a really good song. Sinking, Baby Screams, A Night Like This. A lot of those songs are good. I don't. I think I feel like the only reason this album's not higher is because of personal preference, because I don't have a lot of bad things to say about this album. It's solid, but there's not anything really mind blowing about this album in comparison to a lot of the other albums I'm getting up to. This album is pretty safe, to say the least. It's probably their most jangle pop like album in that case, because they have a lot of jangle pop songs. Excuse me. So yeah, as much as I want to put this higher, this album isn't their best by far. So yeah. Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, which is I think their longest album. It's the first of their like one of the gothic trilogies they've done, because it's like the trilogy with Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Disintegration, and Wish. Those three are like like a trilogy to me, because they all have like a similar. I don't know what the word is. Anyway, um, yeah, this is my least favorite. It's the longest out of the trilogy, and it's got some great moments. There's not really a moment I'd skip, so to speak. Uh, but just like Heaven, it's an okay song, but it's something that I haven't really heard all that much in comparison to like I don't know, Love Song, Lullaby, and Pictures of You. It's funny that they're all on that album. On that whatever. Anyway, my real complaint is that I think it's too long. Like there's not a whole lot going on this album, and I really do think it needed more work. I think but again, just like Heaven, not a fan, really not a fan of that album. I mean that song. I think Hot 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 is a better song than that, and it sucks is that it was a single, but it was never really a huge hit. The final song, Fight, is awesome. The Kiss is a really good song. The Snake Pit, Snake Pit. Why Can't I Be You? Really good song. Because like there's a lot going on in this album. There's a lot of good songs in this album, but there's a lot of forgettable songs in this album. That is why a double album is so hard to make for some people, because you can get so many good songs on one part, and then a lot of boring songs on the other part. A lot of bands do this, and in this case, it's Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me, and I don't know, like I really wish I liked some of these albums more, like this one and Head on the Door, both really beloved albums. I just don't think they're that all that's cracked up to be. So yeah, that's all I have to say about Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me. Uh, yeah, let's move on. Their debut album that came out in 1979. Uh, not quite gothic, quite, quite yet. Uh, these. This is a kind of a wholesome album because it's just it's just these kids just getting into the music scene and just figuring out what they really want to do. And Boys Don't Cry, although not on this album but released around the same time, is one of a really big hit of theirs. And I still really love that song. But a lot of the other songs I like are uh, 10:15 Saturday Night, Fire in Cairo, the title track. And I like their cover of Foxy Lady, and Another Day is a really good song. Like, a lot of these are really good songs, but I have my gripes with it because Subway Song, there is real seriously no reason to scream in my fucking ear like that. I will literally kill you for doing that. You piece of gut. So yeah, that's like I think that's everything I have to say about this. Uh it really has to do with this being like their debut, and they done a lot better. Like, let's be honest. These are just kids, I think. I mean, they're little. They're newbies. Okay, they're gonna do better than this. So yeah, let's move on. So funny thing, we're going from their first album all the way to their last album, which was came out last year, Songs of a Lost World. This blew my mind when it came out. Like, holy crap, the fact that these guys ended up putting out something so nostalgic this late in their career, like this almost sounds like their earlier stuff from like the mid late 80s. We got the first song, it Alone, literally the first song, Alone. I don't know how to explain how much I love that song. That is a special type of song. Like, it brought back like their old the first half of the album, I mean the song is completely instrumental. Then the second half of the song is when they start singing. Like, they've done this before in the beginning of Disintegration, where in the song Plain Song, the first half was instrumental, the second half was not instrumental. That was, I don't know if they meant to have it like yin and yang like that, but that was pretty perfect. I thought I was listening to something like an outtake from Disintegration. Then we get End Song. What do I say, man? End Song is, if this was the last album that they have made, and End Song is their last song that they ever put out. It's a perfect, like, swan song, man. Like, End Song is something else. Just like having this atmospheric gothic rock synth track. Like, I was so happy hearing this. It's just not any higher because of personal preference. That's the only reason this album isn't any higher than it is. And I think this is probably where it would cap off, because this album is pretty new. So, like, I probably wouldn't put it any higher than this, unfortunately. That's just how it is. So, yeah, as much as I love this album, that's pretty much all I have to say. Like, I love this album from the bottom of my heart. Let's move on. Wish, their 1992 album, and the last of that gothic trilogy of double albums. At least I think this one's a double album. I don't know. It came out like in that little spree where there was these like big hits. Wish is probably the least gothic. Excuse me, but it's the album opener and the album closer, like open and close. It's those two songs are alone bring this album pretty high. Friday I'm in Love. Even though that's their most popular song, I still really like that song. From the edge of the deep green sea, Wendy Time, as silly as that song may be, I like this. Again, I really like some of the sillier songs that they've made. Wendy Time is a really good song. Did I just call open and did I just call it open and close? I just now realized that. It's open and end. Like open ended. Damn. I'm bad at this ranking thing, dude. But like, yeah, this album's kind of underrated because usually the people put Disintegration. I mean, a lot of people put Disintegration above a lot of these songs as out of these albums as their favorite. But this album is kind of overshadowed, unfortunately, and it's a really good album. One of their more underrated records, honestly, in my personal opinion, because this has a lot of good songs in it. I really like the open and end songs, and Apart. Oh yeah, I forgot about Apart. Apart's really good. But yeah, I feel like you should give this another spin because this album is really good. Let's move on to the next one. It's the top 5 checkpoint, everybody. We have now reached the top 5. If you have made it this far and were listening to me ramble and constantly stutter like an idiot, because I noticed that I've done this all the time and I've run out of things to say about a lot of these albums, and I wish I had a lot to say about these albums, but I am not too good at this ranking thing verbally. That's why I've written most of my rankings beforehand. I'm just rewriting, doing the rankings, but I'm talking them out. Yeah, I want to improve on doing this, but it is a little difficult for me to do, and I really wish I knew what I was doing with this. But yeah, if you did make it this far and listen to me ramble constantly and constantly and constantly like an annoying piece of garbage, do subscribe, like the video, comment down below what you would rank it, and like what would you rank The Cure, and maybe if you have a suggestion on maybe like a band I would rank. Not Frank Zappa, please. I tried. I honestly tried doing that, but I cannot do that many albums for real. I really wish I could have. I really tried. That's why I'm not doing all of Prince, because he's got 40 albums, and you know a big chunk of those aren't as good as people remember of them either. So yeah. if you want more, do sub and like and comment down below. And yeah, let's just continue on with the ranking, I guess. At number 17, we have at number 5, we have 17 seconds. Not see what I did there. Yeah, this is their first in like a different kind of trilogy. I like to call this trilogy the Gothic trilogy, and the other part like their Gothic pop trilogy. 'Cause this is their Gothic trilogy because I think this trilogy is a lot more Gothic than the other trilogy, as because this trilogy here is like very depressing in my personal opinion. Like A Forest, one of their best songs still. Like A Forest is so darn awesome. Like I've actually heard a live performance of this on YouTube somewhere where they extended it to 13 minutes and added extra lyrics. That is a pretty awesome performance. And a lot of the other songs on here are good too, like the title track, Night, which is another like 6-minute song. Life for Today, that song's really good. Yeah, this album is, I would say, revolutionary. Like this, I wouldn't say this is like the first gothic rock song. That would go to Bauhaus's debut single, Bela Lugosi's Dead. But do think The Cure is like the first to make goth mainstream, because I think A Forest was a pretty decent hit. I don't think that played the whole version, because people don't like to play 6-minute songs that are mostly instrumental. There are lyrics obviously, but a big chunk of it's instrumental. They probably wouldn't want to play too much of it. But it did get a little bit of a hit, and it's considered to be one of their best songs. And I think the rest of the album does live up to that expectation. But even if A Forest is still the best song off the album. And At Night is a pretty underrated song too. And the title track, a lot of this entire album is pretty solid all the way through. Let's move on before I like lose track of where I am. This album here is probably something that you wouldn't expect on any other ranking. It's Bloodflowers. I genuinely do believe this is their most underrated album, like ever, because it has, okay, for one thing, it has Watching Me Fall on it, and in my opinion, out of the few epics they've done, that is their best epic for sure. There's a lot of lengthy tunes on this one. Like most of them are in the 7-minute range, and 7 6-minute range. Like Bloodflowers is like 6:45 minutes. No, like 6 minutes and 6 minutes and 45 seconds. Uh, the title track, uh, There Is No If, is over 7 minutes. The first song is like starts off with 6 minutes and 45 seconds. The Loudest Sound, which is maybe the shortest song on this album, is pretty darn underrated. I think I think that one should have been about as long as the others, to be honest. That has a really good beat to it, and I really wish it was longer. But like a lot of these songs again are like so long, and that would have been a problem on a lot of these albums like in this era. Like it would have sucked on Wild Mood Sings. I would have put that album way low. But on this album it just works. Like it brings back their gothic sound, because the last album wasn't that really gothic. And they brought it back here, and there was a good amount of songs on here that I have come back to. Like I came back to Watching Me Fall the other day because I forgot how awesome that song was. I haven't heard that song in a while beforehand. Watching Me Fall is still in my top three songs. Probably my second favorite song of all of Cure's discography. But yeah, I would give this album another listen because this album is actually that good. And this being in another one of those albums that it's this late in their career, even if Songs of the Lost World was literally last year, this album is pretty late in their career too. It's so damn good. Like Watching Me Fall, the first song. Why can I not remember half these songs on this dang discography? It's kind of pissing me off. Uh, yeah, Watching Me Fall, The Loudest Sound, 39. That was another one of those songs I really liked off this album. Yeah, like come back to these. These are really good songs. All right, let's move on to the top three. So now we got Faith, the second of their gothic rock trilogy from the early 80s. And I've liked this not slightly, because it's actually pretty damn good. This is the album with Primary on it that I mixed up last time. Primary, Funeral Party, All Cats Are Gray, The Drowning Man, and the title track. This album is much more heavy on the synths than the other album was. And I feel like in the Funeral Party really brings in perspective that this album really does sound like a funeral. This album's really darn depressing. Not as depressing as the two coming forward, but man, this album, imagine hearing this back in the day where it's just like these sad vocals, these sad sounding synth sounds, these guitars and the slow drums, because a lot of these songs are slow. I don't think any of these songs are fast, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, a lot of these are slow songs. And yeah, it's well, even if 17 Seconds was a complete departure from Three Imaginary Boys, that this is a complete departure from 17 Seconds in terms of sound. Not too much of a departure, but it's got like a similar themes, like just sad sounds. Also, this album had a single called Charlotte Sometimes. I love that song, and it really paints in that song paints into perspective to the next album coming up after this album, which I will get into pretty darn soon. Uh, yeah, this album easily is brought into my top three, and I would re-listen to this a lot, honestly, because this album is really special. To gothic rock alone, and like yeah, I really love this album. It's depressing, and everything I want in a Cure album is the depression and stuff. So we're gonna go on to our top two. When you know what my number two is, you automatically know what number one is. All right. Anyway, my number two is probably number one for all of you. Disintegration. Yeah, this is a. I don't know how much of a controversial take this one is. I know it's most people's favorite, but I don't know how much hate I necessarily get from this. To me, this album is it's I mean, it's a masterpiece. I cannot really deny the artistic sound, and like it's completely different from anything they've ever done before. They got the like the gothic sound and the synth. They got all the hits. It's got long, lengthy tracks like the same Deep Water as You, uh, Pictures of You, which was a pretty big hit for them, just like in cut short. the title track, untitled track. Funny enough, actually, I never really thought about it that way. And again, the hits, love song, pictures of you, lullaby. Lullaby is probably one of my favorite hits off this album. I think that would be in my top five, to be honest. Now that I'm thinking about it, and I know that that's probably a controversial take. I still love love song. Like that is prob second to actually no, it would probably be slightly less successful than Boys Don't Cry. I think I don't know. It's a pretty successful single. Either way, but that that keyboard like sound, the doo 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 doo, that is almost instantly recognizable. I remember hearing that in a Menards the other day, and I was like, "Holy crap! I love this song," and I just couldn't help but just stand still and listen. Yes, my parents didn't know where I was after that, but I still really like that song. I had to find them after I was just sitting there in the lamp aisle. I think that's what that was. But in Fascination Street, although not my favorite hit for them, is still a really good song. It's not something a song I'd come back to often, but I I do think it's a song that really needs a little bit more love. Plain Song is a really good way to start the album. Again, and again, Lullaby is the music video for that song is pretty darn awesome alone. And yeah, this album I can't help but love it. It is pretty awesome. And if you think this is your favorite, I will absolutely not argue with you because this is a revolutionary album, especially in the gothic rock and alternative rock. Uh, Actually, there's not a lot of jangle pop on this album, is there? That's mostly on their like Wish album. Now that I think about it, this album's mostly depressing. Probably one of the more depressing albums of all time. Besides my number one, which, by the way, duh, 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 is Pornography. Yeah, this this album blew my mind. Like even the backstory behind this album, how Robert Smith was like saying how he was depressed and that instead of taking his own life, he wrote songs on this album, and it's like he put all of his anger onto this masterpiece, and it really shows with the first song, which is my favorite Cure song, 100 Years. What a way to start an album. Like, that song really paints a picture for what the rest of the album is. And I know they put out one single, which was The Hanging Garden. I don't think that was a really big single. It's even that single, even if it is probably like the most popular on this album, that single is still depressing as all hell. Like, it's called The Hanging Garden. That could literally mean like, oops, that could mean anything. If you've like never heard the song and you just look at the title, you're like, oh, that can mean anything. And Siamese Twins, The Figurehead, Cold, A Short Term Effect. Like I can name all the songs on this album, and I could say with certainty that I will never ever get bored of this album. I think I own this album actually. Yeah, I own this album. Of course I do. If I can find it, I could. Oh dang it! I don't think I have it with me. Oh wait, I found green. I could have put this in the freaking. Why do I have it upside down? I could have put this in the REM video and I didn't. You know, while I'm at it, if you guys want a video of all the albums I own right now, I'll gladly show you all the CDs I own if you guys want to see that. And I have them all in a bag right here. Hey guys, I found it. There we go. Pretty cool, right? Yeah. Freaking 100 Years, A Short-Term Effect, The Hanging Garden, Siamese Twins, The Figurehead, A Strange Day. That's the only one I didn't talk about. I remembered all these songs except A Strange Day. And it's funny because A Strange Day is like top 5 for me. Cold and the title track. Title track is really underrated too. That's in my top 10 for sure. And you know, as weird as it is, I believe it's a short-term effect in Cold that have like the same drum beat that goes like. No, that's not a short-term effect. It would be a Siamese Dream, I believe, has the same drum sound as that. I don't really care, because to be honest, it works for both songs in completely different ways, and that's really impressive. So yeah, that is my favorite Cure albums, from my least favorite to my favorite. I know there's gonna be some controversial takes on this one, probably more than the REM one and the Swans one. But even then, if you guys want to like put in your own ranking or whatever, go ahead and put it in the description. Send a hate comment, call me an idiot, call me whatever. Don't say slurs in the chat, please. I will delete you. And you know what? I'll see you like next time, I guess. Peace.